over the last 18 months, I've been modifying this Nissan 350Z, and one thing we did pretty recently was update the headlights. They needed refurbing and refreshing, and I also wanted to add these demon lights in there, as well as making another couple of small changes, like blacking out the amber stripe that is typically down the side. It went great, and they look fantastic now, but the thing is with 350Z headlights is the DE ones are fine. The HR ones are better. And it so happens that someone has gifted me a pair of pretty beaten up HR headlights. So today we're going to completely refresh, but also modify those HR headlights to have some custom cool features, a bit like we did in the DE. And it's fortunate because it means I can get rid of something that really bugs me with these DE lights. And it's a bug, quite literally. There's a fly that's found its way in. I sealed these things. I know there's no way in. How the hell did that get there? Anyway, in order to get these lights out, there's bolts underneath here, which means we need to get the car in the air, remove the wheels, remove the fender liners, remove the front bumper, and then we can get the lights out. And it also means I can change my splitter because I smashed it the other day. That's the job of splitters though, I guess. So we can do all that in one go. Let's get this little thing up in the air. So now we can just undo the clips at the back of the headlights, which are why you have to take the fender liners off. There are bolts under here, which is why you have to take the front bumper off. Some on the top. So let's just whip this thing off. Oh, yeah. I've forgotten the fact there's extra cabling in here now because of the demon eyes. So I've got to undo that and root that out first as well. Why is having cool things so much more of a pain than not having cool things? I've got to find where the hell this fly got in. Oh, shit. I didn't put this massive seal cover back on the back. So there's a big hole. And it's dead easy from here to access the light. What an idiot. Before we start the revamp though, let's take a look at the HR headlights in there. Kind of messed up form right now, and how they work differently in here because they're a little bit different. Yeah, they look like this right now. A little bit messed up. The lenses are completely fogged and yellow and scratched and ruined. But the light, the bit that's underneath, is the important bit, because that's the bit that's really desirable in these headlights. And let's see what they look like when they turn on and indicate and all that stuff. The side lights turn on a little light down here, but also these 4 amber lights at the top. God knows why they're amber, but that's what we get when we turn on the side lights. Then with the main beam, this center bulb comes on. There's a HID behind there. And then when we do the full beam, something changes behind this front bulb. You can hear the of the ballast underneath adjusting the light spread. It's difficult to see right now because it's the middle of the day and it's sunny, but that's what happens. There's really no way around this. It's an arduous process of using a heat gun to get the glue around the outside edge of the lens nice and hot, open up the clips, and then just use your pure human strength to slowly start to pull the 2 sides of this thing apart. It's important you don't like jam a screwdriver or something in there because you're going to end up bending all of the plastic. You don't want that. You want it to be able to reseal nicely. So just taking your time and working your way along while slowly getting these lenses apart is really the best way to go about it. As long as you persevere and take your time, you'll get these things apart, no matter how long it takes. And we can check it all over. Looks like this chrome bit on the inside is all nice, even though it doesn't look like it through the lens, but we'll sort that out in a bit. And the inside is all nice and clean. So with all this separated apart, let's look at the bits that we're going to put inside. Inside this bag is some boards from one of the sponsors of today's video, PCBWay. They have provided me with these, which I designed, a series of little PCBs that can replace this OEM 4-light board. As you can see, they are exactly the same shape and size, which means they'll replace dead easily to where the DRL light in the board is. And instead of using those typical amber LEDs, I can use these programmable NeoPixel LEDs. These are 5mm ones with a staggered pin format. It means it goes ground, data in, data out, and then positive 5-volt power. And when I connect these up to just a ESP32 with a very rudimentary program running on it that's just cycling through a bunch of colors, we can see what happens with this bulb. It just runs through a few colors. It just means we can check that they all work exactly as they're supposed to, and I was very happy with this. Really good brightness, really good result from a little 5mm bulb. But a problem showed its head when I was trying to solder these LEDs onto the PCB, because simply I'm not good enough at soldering things that are so unbelievably small. Every time I tried to get all 4 of these connection points soldered, it just wouldn't work. They're honestly really difficult to get to, and I tried a bunch of different ways of positioning the pins so that they stuck out in different ways, tried to bridge them, tried to do all kinds of weird stuff, but they didn't work. But fortunately, PCBWay, being as great as they are, allowed me to create a new version which had the solder points further away. So I didn't actually have to solder them in the point where the pins go through. Instead, I could twist them over to the sides like this, and meaning that my solder points were further apart whilst producing the exact same outcome. So huge thanks to PCBWay for allowing me to have this second set of boards to produce the same thing. Try not to cock it up. And as we can see, when we apply the power and the data to the board on the inputs, they cycle fantastically, which means I now have fully programmable LEDs that I can use in that DRL slot to have them white or flashing switchback or whatever I want. And I actually produced a left and a right so that the data order of the pins can go in the same direction, like from the back of the car to the front. So if you wanted to do a sweep effect, it would always be LED 1, 2, 3, 4 instead of having to do LED 4, 3, 2, 1 on the other side. So these boards ended up working fantastically, and as per usual, it's a huge thanks to PCBWay for providing them. If you're looking to get some boards made yourself, make sure you check out the link in the description where you can get yourself $5 off your first set of boards when you order from PCBWay. And here is my final finished result, ready to go in the lights. Back with these chrome parts and the shell. The chrome bits, fortunately, are in really good condition. Right now, they're covered in quite a lot of cat and dog hair because of my cat and my dog. But they're in good nick. They just need some cleaning. And so does the lens, like the main lens where the main beam and the high beam comes out of. Looks like it's had fingers all over it, which makes me think maybe this light has been opened at some point in the past before. And at this point, I'd taken a toffee wheel to the shell and got off a load of the grime, as well as doing a quick little bit of a rub down pass on that with some isopropanol, which is why it looks nice and clean. But I got to clean up all these inside parts. So we'll start by removing this main lens and the original DRL PCB, get those out of the way so that we can clean them up and install some custom parts. And with everything removed, we can start cleaning down the inside of this rear shell with a bunch of isopropanol. And again, trying to get rid of any like stray hairs and things which could end up attached to the inside of the lens. Also, this lens needed cleaning up. Nothing too difficult, just a microfiber rub down and then putting it back in place and securing it tightly. It's obviously super important that this doesn't move. Then I swapped in my new custom PCB, which fit exactly in the original OEM spot, and then ran the cable so that it comes out of the big round section in the back of the middle of the light. The halos used in this project are a 72mm inside diameter halo light, which were provided for me by the second sponsor of this video, AliExpress. They were an absolute perfect fit. I'd obviously measured what size I needed beforehand, but this 72mm inside diameter ring light fit absolutely snug over the top of this lens, meaning that it didn't really require any adhesion. It just fit exactly in place and was never going to move. Again, the wire had to get traced out of the back so that it was all out of the way, but when it is, you're not going to be able to see this halo light underneath the front of the enclosure, which made it absolutely perfect in these 350Z HR lights. I really couldn't wait to see this thing all turned on at this point. Obviously, the chrome bits all need a little bit of a cleanup. So again, we're just going to run over it with a tight microfiber cloth and a bunch of isopropanol just to get it clean and remove all traces of the cat and the dog from around my house. And on these particular lights, that's most important on this upper shell part, because it's the bit that you see. The smaller bit is kind of hidden away underneath that transparent panel at the top of the light, but the rest of it is the main crux of the light that you see. So it's important just to spend the time making sure there's no fingerprints on it, no loose hairs, and definitely no dead flies. Obviously, before we start to put things back together, the inside of this lens needs a bit of a clean. I'm not doing the outside yet. That'll come after I've resealed it. But clean up the inside and then attach the chrome inner back on the inside of the lens. Resealing these lenses is almost as painful as having to unseal them. So you want to get some black silicone adhesive. This is an OB1, it's one I like to use, and just put a relatively generous supply of this into the groove where the lens is going to be sitting. We are going to be remelting the original adhesive sealant too, but it's better to have a bit too much than a bit too little. The actual art of resealing this properly to ensure that absolutely no water or dust or anything gets in there is basically the same process that we did when we were unsealing them, but very much in reverse, by getting everything really hot, melting the original adhesive, and then slowly pressing the two sides together to allow that hot adhesive to distribute evenly in that groove and remove any tiny little air gaps that might be present where things like water and humidity could creep into the light. There's no short and fast way of doing this properly. It is just a case of, like we did when we unsealed it, getting all of the adhesive nice and hot and then pressing it together properly, making sure all the parts are firmly together, reclosing the tabs that hold the front and the back of the panel together, and using the various screws, in this case there are 5 of them, back in the rear of the panel so that they pull the front nice and tight. Sometimes doing this, the lens does get pretty hot, so you might want to make sure you've got a microfiber or something around to allow you to squeeze it properly. I'm not going to go into super detail with the sanding here, but in order to refurbish headlights properly, you need to sand from around 400 grit all the way up to around 2 to 2,500 grit. It takes time, it takes energy, but when you've finished, you should end up with a nice, smooth but faded looking, clear-ish lens. After you've then polished and applied a 2K top coat, you should end up with some pretty sweet looking lights. Just make sure you take a moment to stand back and admire what you've done. Obviously, the super cool thing about these lights now is not only do they have that halo that's hidden away behind the top chrome layer, but we've got this color changeable, settable DRL set of lights, which we can then choose what we want to do with at any point down the line. Let's get these things reinstalled though. Pop them back in their new house, connect up the wires at the back. We've now got 2 sets, one for the side lights and one for the halo lights. Got to route them up past the original wiring so it all looks OEM, in through the firewall, and then the control boxes are inside, which means I now have full control of these lights. And yes, I do like keeping them on purple generally because of the purple car, and I like purple. Darkness falls and the purple is very overwhelming in these things, but because I've got these NeoPixels programmed, I can hook them up to my underglow and have it mimic whatever is on there. It's pretty cool. Or I can just have it on this, you know, generally purpley vibe. Right now is a great time of day to look at these lights because it's not too dark, but we'll still get like a subtle effect of the purple that we can see in the headlights. We've got it not only in these halos, which are a pretty common thing people put in lights, but also in these DRLs on the side, which I actually think these are the first set of these HR headlights anywhere in the world with these customizable DRL lights. And I've got to admit, I love them. I think it just adds that little pop of color that I wanted in the lights. You know, when you're driving around this kind of time of day, it's subtle, it's not too distracting for the road users, but it also looks really cool, especially with all of the underglow and the interior glow and the purple starlights that run through this thing. I do have a bit of a thing for purple, obviously. Now, at the moment, the DRL lights on the side are hooked up to the underglow, so they replicate whatever color is on the underglow, which is great. It means it's dead easy, you don't have to think about it too much. But I want to change that. So these actually run off their own Arduino, and it means that I can then listen out for either the CAN bus or the actual signal from an indicator and have these switch back with the indicators, which potentially means I can get rid of that bulb inside the light, because it's not overly pretty seeing a big orange bulb there amongst this nice chrome and black headlight. But generally speaking, I've got to say the refurb of these came out really well, and with those extra little touches to make them customizable, I think these are a fantastic upgrade to the DE headlights that we did have in the car beforehand. Obviously, a massive thanks to PCBWay for sorting out the PCBs that I've used in the side here. Also to AliExpress for supplying me these halos. They do come in a range of sizes. I got the 90mm, which is a 72mm inside diameter. Absolutely perfect for these size lights, but whatever size light you need, I'm sure they've got them. And these are actually on sale this week. There's some discount codes and all that kind of stuff in the comments if you do want to pick some up and grab yourself them at a discount price. As always, if you've got any questions, stick them down in the comments and I'll do my best to get back to you. Otherwise, I hope something really good happens to you today, and I'll see you in the next video Wednesday at 2 p.m. Take it easy, peeps. Bye bye.